Bryan Wellbrock, and I retired as a lieutenant commander, LDO. I wish I could have stayed on there forever, but there were a lot of other people who wanted to be there too. So, you know, the rotations were kind of quick. But because of all of that, I got sent to NAVCAMSEASTPAC, Naval Communications Area Master Station, EastPAC in Honolulu, Hawaii. And NAVCAMS is a major communications station that commands via satellite and all kinds of other things a huge ocean area. In our case there, it involved all of the EastPAC and ships in the WestPAC and those that were transiting back and forth and stuff. So we had the biggest area of operations of any communications station in the country. And I was sent there as a training officer, and they had problems with the again, I was a JG at the time. I think no, I just made lieutenant, and the comm officer there was a lieutenant commander billet, and the person that was in it was getting them in trouble a few times with oversights and stuff. The captain called in one day and said, "I know your training program. I've seen what you guys are doing. Great, but I said I need you in this other spot." I said, "Geez, Captain, I mean, you know, that's a big job." And so he said, "Yeah," and I've talked to others, and we all agree that, you know, you can do this thing. It was 7 different divisions. I had about 250 to 275 enlisted, and about 57 or so to 60 or so civilians and stuff in that department. And it ended up being a really great thing. I mean, I loved it. I loved what I was doing. I had great people working for me. Again, I got them all together, and I said, "You guys, what you're doing is what's making it happen. And we're going to work on that every day, but I'm not the kind of guy that says do it this way. I'm the kind of guy that says, however you can do it, if it works, that's okay with me." And so they took that and ran with it, and stuff. We did some great stuff out there in NAVCAMS, enough to where I got orders from there down to St. Pac, Commander-in-Chief Pacific, which is on the island and stuff with the others, and ended up in the comm department stuff down there, running some global programs and everything. And then Desert Shield, Desert Storm came along, and me and one other guy got picked to go over in the command center and work in the command center there as the startup guys. Now, there was others in our department and stuff that went over to work the communications portion of it. But anytime we brought the command center up, it was either he or I that went over there and started it all and got it up and running. And that was the only time in my life that when you came on watch, it was like a U-shaped cubicle, and there was another one on the other side, and like a fourplex. You would work on one side, and all the things you had going on all over the world and stuff that you were doing. When your relief came in 12 hours later, he would start on the other side. And you couldn't really do a watch turnover because he was already busy. And so you put out your fires until you got down to the point where you could say, "I'm just waiting on a call for this or a flight for this or something," and you could go home. So we worked 12 on, 12 off up there during Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and the tsunami that hit Bangladesh, and Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines were 3 of the biggest things that we set up for and everything. And yeah, it's 12 on, 12 off, but it's about 14, 15, 16 on and 6 or 7 or 8 off. But we finished that up and everything. It was time to rotate and stuff, so I got orders to Chief of Naval Technical Training in Millington, Tennessee.